Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from CNN Politics. Now this was updated, I'm assuming also published on the 31st of July. It's written by Paul LeBlanc. And all I got to say is it a prerequisite to be hired at CNN as a white male that you have to be like a soy boy, at most beta? I mean, you know, they prefer like gammas and shit, but like, you look at this guy. All right, Paul LeBlanc. He's a freaking soy boy. He's a beta little soy boy bitch. Probably suffering from low testosterone. Could probably use a shot of steroids in the ass and become a real man. You know, that type of guy. Anyway, video resurfaces of Trump struggling to vote in person in 2004 as he ramps up attacks on mail-in voting. Now, this is what's funny about this. They're trying to compare zebras to duck-billed platypus here. It's that type of comparison, all right? It's not apples to oranges. It's zebras to duck-billed platypus. It's so funny. They're so desperate to push this nothing to see here narrative about the whole rife with being exploited for fraud with the mail-in ballots. Let's just ignore New Jersey. Let's just ignore, you know, what happened during the special elections in California. I mean, New Jersey just recently happened, but like with California as well, you know, with the Democrat activists harvesting those mail-in ballots and a lot of shady shit going on. Let's just ignore those things. Nothing to see here. Nothing happens. You know, it's perfectly legit. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's see what the soy boy has to say here. Video of then businessman Donald Trump struggling to vote in person before declaring he would fill out an absentee ballot in 2004 has resurfaced this week amid a new round of unfounded attacks on mail-in voting from the president. You're talking about your Democrat mass mail-in voting where they want ballots sent to every single person in the country, and they want people of voting age to automatically be registered. Oh, no, there ain't shady shit going on here. You know, there are a lot of 18-year-olds that haven't registered to vote. But, hey, let's just ignore that fact, you know, that when they were in the last two elections, you know, let's say go back to 2016, they didn't register. 2018, they didn't register. But we're going to register them now. We're just going to send them a ballot. There's nothing shady that's going to happen with that. Oh, no, not at all. Oh, you people are ridiculous. And this idea of, well, it's because he wasn't listed on any of the lists for his area polling places. That's why this happened. But hey, whatever. The Access Hollywood segment, of course it's Access Hollywood, like the grab 'em like the pussy thing, filmed as Trump was attempting to vote in the 2004 election, shows Trump alongside TV host Billy Bush visiting multiple New York City polling locations. Trump, however, is blocked from voting at each location because he's not on any of the voter rolls at each stop. Yeah. See, comparing zebras to platypuses, he's not on the voter rolls. All these people are on the voter rolls. But whatever. Trump can be seen becoming increasingly frustrated before declaring, I'm going to fill out the absentee ballot. Well, that's not what he filled out, but hey, whatever. You're going to quote him on that one particular thing because you want to conflate mass mail-in ballots with absentee ballots. The segment ends with Trump filling out what Bush describes as a provisional ballot in his car. I just voted, Trump touted. At least you can say the Trumpster doesn't give up. The 16-year-old video has circulated on social media and gained new attention in the wake of the president's continued attacks on mail-in voting. Yes, because the lefties are spurgs and they think this actually vindicates their bullshit and it actually makes Trump look bad. But it doesn't. Oh my God, but CNN has to latch on to this because, you know, like a rabid dog, they're going to clamp down on anything, you know, a dog, well, I should say a rabid dog on the note of their derangement with Trump. They're going to latch on to anything, all right, and they're just going to writhe around until it or they die. Usually it's the other thing dies because for somehow, you know, CNN is like a fucking zombie. It keeps, you know, getting hit. Shot round after round, taking it down. And because no one's done the headshot yet, it just keeps coming back. Those attacks, which often take a partisan tinge, as the president has said, he believes his party would be hurt by mail-in voting. That's not what he said. He said that there's going to be voter fraud because the Democrats are shady, shifty scumbags, basically. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's true. So anyway, escalated on Thursday to the point that Trump floated delaying the election, something he cannot legally do. Actually, yes, you can. You can suspend under the Constitution rare privilege, under rare circumstances. Okay, like declaring martial law, you can suspend the election. I don't think Trump's going to do something like that, but he could do it. It's the power of the president. But see, they're trying to play it up like he would do something like that. It's so funny. With universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which is good, 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. It will be. It will be a great embarrassment to the USA, Trump tweeted Thursday. Delay the election until people can properly secure and safely vote. And he's right about that. He's dead on. That's what they don't want. See, they're trying to portray it like he wants to suspend elections, everything else. No, he wants to make sure that there's a secure way to do this. If they're gonna push this, well, then there's got to be a secure way to do it. But see, the left and the Democrats don't want that because they're going to do a tried, true tradition going back to the days of the Tammany Hall fucking Democrats. Okay, and they're going to stuff the fucking ballot boxes. They're going to have people, okay, who are going to vote. All right, with mail-in ballots. And they're going to give them fraudulent fucking IDs, and they're going to send them down to the polling locations, and they're going to vote there too as someone else. Now, I personally witnessed kids who were no way in hell were 18, okay, during the 2016 election. No way in hell were they 18. I pointed it out to the polling people. You had all three of them having to look at their fucking IDs to literally put their addresses down on their affidavits to vote. I'm sorry, but if you don't know your own fucking address, there's something wrong. And all three kids came in together. All three kids wanted to vote the same day, and all three kids at the same time that they're filling out their affidavit to say who they are and where they live had to look at their IDs to see their address, to put the address down. And I said, they just watched them, had to copy their address from their ID. They're fake IDs. And I was basically told to shut the fuck up. That nothing to see here. That it wasn't happening. I don't know what I'm talking about. By someone who's supposed to be overseeing the polls, who's supposed to be overseeing the voting. Make sure that it's legit. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because you get 90-year-old women, oh, they were old, but like 70 or whatever at the location I vote at, checking IDs. Put fucking bartenders, okay? Put bouncers on that shit. They tell you a fake ID in 2 fucking seconds. And when I noticed that, I looked at the ID. It looked fake as fuck. Oh my God. And this shit was going on during a normal election. You don't think when you have people walking in with fake IDs, signing affidavits, getting minors to sign affidavits because they're like, well, they're kids, they're just going to get their wrists slapped in New Hampshire. When you get that shit going on, do you honestly think that they're not going to like take advantage of this shit and stuff the ballot boxes? Bullshit. Oh my God. During a news conference later in the day, Trump was asked to explain his motivations. At first, he suggested he was trying to avoid a drawn-out counting process that might stretch for days or weeks if a large number of voters cast ballot by mail. But he eventually acknowledged his allegations could sow doubts about whatever outcome emerges in November. Yes, exactly. And this is what's funny. The left and the Democrats, with all of their fucking shit, because their spurgery now has woke up a lot of people. So even with their stuffing the ballot boxes and everything else, they could still fuck themselves. Especially if people are allowed to go to voting locations. Especially with that fact, because someone might actually show up that they don't expect to, and they've already used their mail-in ballot on them. But regardless, they're afraid that that even with them rigging the fucking election, because they tried in 2016, you know it's just going to be even more spurgery than what we saw then. All right, it's going to be more derangement. It's going to be more mental retardation. It's going to be more immaturity. It's going to be more entitlement. It's going to be more of every single thing that they have like subjected everyone else to with their being little fucking shitbags because they lost an election. And they're trying to be like, oh, well, Trump will be the one. They tried to pull this shit in 2016 where they'll be like, oh, all these people are going to be upset when Trump loses and they're going to say the election's rigged. And who are the people bitching, whining, and claiming the election was rigged? The side that claimed that the other side would. Go figure. You know, the Democrats and the left. What people are now looking at is, are all these stories right about the fact that these elections will be fraudulent? They'll be fixed, rigged, he said. Everyone is looking at it, Trump added. A lot of people are saying that it probably will happen. Yeah. See, just not people that CNN has up there or MSNBC or whatever, you know, because those experts they don't want to listen to. It's like the idea of like YouTube with the idea of the CDC and authoritative sources, all right, which is just some Orwellian newspeak term for people that are pushing the same bullshit that I want to that benefits me. That's what's going on here. In reality, there is no evidence that mail-in voting leads to fraud. Oh, really? What about New Jersey just very recently? What about California with the special elections and all the Democrat activists harvesting ballots and it looking shady as all fucking hell? Oh, let's just ignore that. Oh, my God. It doesn't lead to fraud. Bullshit. Well, rare instances of voter fraud from mail-in ballots do occur. It is nowhere near a widespread problem in the U.S. election system. Well, we also have never had a situation where you have one side of the false left-right paradigm demanding that everyone who's of voting age, whether they're registered or not, you know, if they're not registered, getting registered, and then having a ballot sent to every single person on the voter rolls, whether they ask for one or not. So you can't just say, well, it's never happened before. We've never had a situation like this. Sleazy, dishonest people. The most recent example of fraud from mail-in ballots took place in 2018 midterm elections in a race where a GOP activist in North Carolina was accused of multiple felonies in connection to questionable absentee ballot activity in a congressional race on behalf of a Republican candidate. You notice they go back to 2018 and completely ignore what just happened in New Jersey. They completely ignore the special elections in California where the Democrat activists harvesting ballots were caught doing shady shit. They just ignore all that to go back to find the one Republican situation, which I believe which actually might have been shown to be bullshit. It might not have. I could be wrong on that one because there was an accusation of it and with another one or whatever it might have been. And they said this and it didn't happen or something. But yeah, I could be wrong on that too. But basically, that's if my memory serves. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, so they got to go back to 2018. This is how dishonest they are. Mail ballot fraud is exceedingly rare, in part because states have systems and processes in place to prevent forgery, theft, and voter fraud. Actually, not really. Okay, you just sign your fucking John Hancock type thing. Saying an affidavit saying, I am who I am. That's all. That's some really advanced systems there to take care of that situation and solve it. These systems would not apply to both absentee ballot. All right. These systems would apply to both absentee ballots and mail-in ballots for in-state voters. Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna have people affidavits submitted. People haven't forged names on affidavits before. No, that's never happened. Oh, they're trying to act like these affidavits, which are supposed to be their means of stopping it, are going to prevent someone from fucking forging a name? Bullshit. Jesus Christ. Additionally, the president's distinction between mail-in voting and absentee voting has baffled experts who say these voting systems are essentially the same thing. No, they're not. They're not essentially the same thing because absentee ballots is not mass ballots being sent to every registered voter, which is what the left and Democrats are calling for. They're two completely different things. Oh my God. You're trying to compare forcing ballots out on people that haven't requested them with people getting ballots that have specifically requested them. And you're going, there ain't much difference. This is literally a night and day type of comparison. Because one, you've got everyone and their mother getting a ballot, and the other one, you only get a small number of people getting ballots that have specifically requested them. Oh, Jesus Christ. CNN, you're fucking ridiculous. No excuse, mail voting. All right, no excuse. Mail voting or absentee voting, whatever you call it, is essentially the same thing. David Becker, founder of the nonpartisan Center for Election Innovation and Research, previously told CNN. Sure, nonpartisan, I'm sure. Yep. You request a ballot, you get a ballot, you vote, you send it in. There are protections in place. It doesn't matter whether you call it mail voting or absentee voting. It's the same thing. No, it's not. We've just been through this. There's also a whole thing of chain of custody. You actually, I believe, have to send a copy of your ID with absentee ballots. If memory serves, most states require you to send a copy of your ID. This mail-in ballot shit that they're trying to pull, they're just sending them to people. That should tell you a lot. They're being really shady here. They're trying to conflate and misrepresent the whole thing. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.